Hey, there are some spoilers revolving around the abilities of a manga character. If you do not want to be spoiled, I highly recommend just going away from the video. If the Whole Cake Island arc's already finished in the anime though, you're pretty much good to go. Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L and today let's talk some One Piece. This time let's do a sort of reference video, pretty much talking about Devil Fruit Awakenings and what we have learned so far. This video is intended to consolidate the information that we already have from One Piece and throw in a few speculations here and there. Devil Fruit Awakenings are a pretty interesting topic and it's just nice to know what rules we have already established. So let's start by looking at the Zoans, the first categorized awakenings in One Piece, confirmed to us by Crocodile in Impel Down in regards to the Jailer Beast. By sheer observation, we can see that the awakenings give them larger forms, and from what was told to us about them, we know that they are incredibly durable and recover quickly from injury. One thing we do not know for sure is to what degree this awakening affected their mental faculties. They show simple behaviors and can take orders, but they don't seem to show the same level of ability as, say, post time skip Monster Point Chopper. And Chopper is relevant for this because he might be the first awakened Zoan fans actually saw. Let's look at the facts. Awakenings for Zoans turn them into more monstrous forms. Chopper has hit a more monstrous form. The awakened form has human aspects and animal aspects. Chopper's monster form has human aspects and animal aspects as well. Mind you, you'd expect a different allocation for the features, but it doesn't change that you get the same end result. All we need is for Oda to say that this is an awakened form. Another thing to keep in mind is that Chopper achieved this form through direct tampering of his Devil Fruit. It isn't a stretch to say that Chopper understands his Devil Fruit much more than the average Zoan. Moving on to Paramecia, and for this we have the examples of Doflamingo, Katakuri, and although it's of questionable validity, Tesoro. Paramecias have displayed a different variation of awakenings than Zoans, and that makes sense. Let's start with the canon examples, and let's establish the basic observations. These are both Paramecia whose power involves the creation and manipulation of the created substance, strings for Doflamingo and Mochi for Katakuri. These aren't Paramecias in the same class as Luffy or Buggy, but we'll touch on that later. The main thing that we have seen from Doflamingo and Katakuri is the ability to turn surroundings into their substance, which matches up with what Doflamingo said. Very rarely an ability will awaken and begin to affect things other than the user's own body. We see this with Doflamingo and Katakuri being able to convert the ground into strings and Mochi respectively. From this we also see one common limitation, that being they can't convert living people into strings or Mochi, or at least they haven't done this yet. They may be able to surround them or encapsulate them in the substance, but that is fundamentally different from converting solid materials into the element. Katakuri has shown one more ability that may be linked into awakening, and that is the ability to convert his own body into Mochi. Some observations that we should keep in mind though, Jinbei has called Katakuri a special Paramecia, most likely alluding to that intangibility aspect, but Luffy was also able to connect a hit to Katakuri without the Mochi intangibility activating. What this implied was that the intangibility was a focused effect, and given that awakenings have the potential to change unrelated materials into the element, it's not a stretch to guess that an awakening would be able to change the user's body into the element as well. And sure enough, Katakuri does confirm that what he's doing when it came to the intangibility was that he was using observation, Haki, in order to turn his body into Mochi before the attack lands and sort of move out of the way. Although one thing to note is that possibly Logia still have an advantage in that they can make their intangibility aspect something that they trigger by reflex, as opposed to Katakuri's focused effort. It is important to bring up Katakuri's conversion of his body into his element because that is a trait that is locked to Logia's. If we accept the limitations of the Paramecia class, then the conclusions would be that the Paramecia cannot have both the element conversion and the element creation. It has to be one or the other. If awakening lets the Paramecia bridge that gap and give them that other little bit, which is the ability to turn into your element, then allotting that into awakening, I don't see what is wrong with that, but unfortunately we do not have enough samples to be able to make a strong conclusion. Now, as we noted, both of these Paramecia revolve around generation and manipulation. How would an awakening look for someone that doesn't have this style of power? How would it look for Buggy, who can just cut himself up? Well, looking at Tesoro and believing that he is truly awakened, we see something else, that being that his awakening allowed him to expand the range of his control. This implies that awakenings are more something that expand the scope of the devil fruits and isn't just limited to affecting the environment, as in the case of Doflamingo and Katakuri. That said, Tesoro is tough since he is technically non-canon, and because the legitimacy of him being awakened is questionable unless you are able to find the source of the information. This also opens up the question of if we've seen other people awaken their devil fruit without confirmation, especially with the Paramecia. For instance, Brook, thanks to his devil fruit, is able to do things that his devil fruit didn't initially allow in its description. If an awakening is an expansion of a devil fruit's initial scope, the idea that Brook is an awakened devil fruit user could work. You could say, however, that it doesn't make sense for Brook to hit awakening first before Luffy does. But when you look back at the case of Chopper, the idea that Brook at the very least got something close to an awakening before Luffy isn't outlandish when you consider that Chopper might have also done it first. And when you look across at other Straw Hats, you'll see that Zoro started having shades of observation haki, with his ability to sense the breathing of things, and Sanji was the first to produce flames, a power that we have seen tied with haki. At the time, of course, it was said to be friction, but at the time we were also told that the Yamble Jambe worked because Sanji's heart burned hotter. Overall, it's really questionable when it comes to some of the powers that Oda doesn't want to explain. Anyway, that's what we really know about Devil Fruit awakenings at the moment. Katakuri keeps showing things that really don't seem like something a normal Devil Fruit user should be able to do, such as the energy flowing around his hands when he's making the mochi arms. That's very interesting, man. So here's hoping for more clarifications and classifications in the future, especially if we're going to be sticking with Katakuri more. Right now, this guy is our best source of information. And on another note, it'll be interesting to see what a Logia awakening looks like if we haven't already seen it. After all, we've had very interesting cases of powers going on with Aokiji, Crocodile, and Akainu. Whether or not they were awakened, well, if they were, it would explain some of the weird things they were able to do. And then what about a devil fruit like Robin's? What does an awakening of that one look like? I mean, Robin's devil fruit already is pretty weird. But anyway, guys, personally, I'm really betting on the day that we get the confirmation that Brook was awakened as well. I think that would just be amazing, and awakenings are just a pretty fun power set going on in One Piece, and I'm excited to see more. And on that note, we're at the end of the video. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, it's a very quick reference video. I want to hear what you guys think, however. What do you think an awakening is? Do you think it is strictly limited to just turning your environment into your element or something like that? And then if that's the case, how does that work for people like Buggy? I mean, for Buggy, I guess you could just imagine he's making a room type environment where other objects, if they were to be slashed, they could also separate the same way Buggy does. I mean, like, there's easy ways to apply it, but I'd like to hear your thoughts, what you think awakenings are, and who you think might be awakened. There is going to be a follow-up video, characters I think are personally awakened, or might be showing shades of it, so keep an eye on that, and let's end it there. Till next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.